Dear students, let us have a discussion on the colonialism and imperialism. The term are very familiar to us. We are the people who experienced colonialism and imperialism under the British rule. The term colonialism that is connected with the idea of domination. At the same time, it is an exploitation. Colonialism is domination of a metropolitan country or a metropolitan state over a country which is economically and politically weaker than that of the metropolitan country. It is a specific form of exploitation, whether it is economical, political, social, or cultural exploitation. How the colonial people was exploited by the metropolitan state or colonial masters. We see that the colonial masters, especially the Europeans who framed various theories, various ideologies to justify their rule in the Asian and African countries. One of the important theory they developed was that of the civilizing mission. Civilizing mission, the idea of social Darwinism, gender question, ecological question, all that is raised by the Europeans to justify their administration in the Asiatic and African countries. They make an argument that it is the divine entrusted duty that is carried out by the Europeans. Their duty was that of civilizing the uncivilized natives who were occupying the Asian and African colonies. So the Europeans' argument is that their education, their science and technology, rule of law, their treatment towards women, all are the tools to justify or tool to civilize the uncivilized people of Asia and Africa. Social Darwinism, that is the social version of the biological theory that is developed by Charles Darwin, that is connected with the theory of survival of the fittest and natural selection. Nature always selects the organism that is mentally physically fit. The organism that is mentally physically fit that will survive. So this biological theory have its application in the social Darwinism that is later developed by Herbert Spencer. So the gender question, they raised the gender question by pointing out the issue of sati, infanticide and other matters in our country. Ecology, that is the another important aspect considered or noticed by the Europeans. They make an argument that India is a place belongs to the tropical region where there is very hot climate. So because of this extreme hot situation, India became a land of death, disease and sudden deaths. People of India were lazy because of this hot condition. So in order to justify their administration, they formalized the colonial masters and the supporting scholars formalized various theories. So in this way, colonialism, that is a form of exploitation, political, economical and social exploitation. So what are the features of colonialism? We have to identify some of the features of colonialism or when what happened in a colony when that is colonized. One important feature is that complete integration of the colony with the world capitalist system without providing any material returns to the colony. It is also linked to capitalism, but that does not have any kind of material returns as they became the part of the capitalism. So one of the important feature of colonialism, that is the complete integration of the colony with the world capitalist system. How the colony that was linked with the world capitalist market. The theory or idea of free market, free trade, that was put forward for this. The idea of free trade or the process of free trade, that is connected with the ideology of laissez-faire, that was developed by Adam Smith and other economic thinkers. Laissez-faire theory make an argument that the best government, that is least governed. That means minimize the interference of government in all administrative, social and other matters. So that is the theory of free trade and laissez-faire. So through free trade and free markets, the colonies were linked or connected to the world capitalist market. One important aspect. Second important aspect of colonialism, that is concerned with the process of production. Process of production, that we means colonial countries, that means colonial master or metropolitan country, that is connected with the manufacture, production of manufacture, and a colony that is concerned with the production of raw materials. Production of manufacture that demands huge quantity of raw materials, that is from the colonies. So the colonies served as a market of the metropolitan country, and at the same time colony that became a place for exporting the raw materials. We can see that once our spices, our cotton seeds that have great demand in European markets, Lancashire clothes that was manufactured from London had great demand in Asiatic countries. So the raw materials for the cloth production that was given by India. So in this way, that is concerned colonialism, that is concerned with the process of production. Our spices that have great demand from the time of the arrival of the Arabians or the Arabian trade connected with the Arabian Sea and Indian Ocean. Europeans always fond of the metallic taste. This metallic taste that is provided by the pepper of Malabar and other parts of India. So this way, colonies served as the producers of the raw materials for the survival of the European manufacturing industry. That is another important aspect. Another important concept related to the colonialism, that is drain of wealth. Drain of wealth. You are very familiar with the drain theory introduced by Dadabhai Naoroji and R.C. Dutt. Dadabhai Naoroji and R.C. Dutt are popularly known as the economic nationalists. Through Dadabhai Naoroji wrote a very famous book, that is Poverty and Un-British Rule in India. He provided the title Poverty and Un-British Rule in India. Not British Rule in India, Un-British Rule in India. The argument of Dadabhai Naoroji is that Britain is actually representing the idea of liberalism. Britain is actually representing the idea of liberty, that is influenced by the idea of fraternity. They are believing the gender equality. So that kind of good practices Britain have. But in spite of these good practices, they never practiced these principles in India. So it is not real Britain. What India experienced that time was not the real Britain, that was un-British. That is why Dadabhai Naoroji used a term poverty and un-British rule in India. Likewise, R.C. Dutt also wrote another important book, Economic History of India. So these two important books and several other thinking developed an idea of drain of wealth. Drain of wealth means our wealth that was drained, to Britain in the form of salaries and pensions that was given to the European officials or British officials who were stationed in India. We already know that the British officials and European officials who were stationed in India not for the benefit of our country but for enriching the mother country, that of Britain. Though they were stationed in India for the benefit of the mother country, their salary and pension were given from the treasury of India. And huge taxes that was imposed on the Indian peasants, industrialists and other groups. But this tax that was drained to Britain. So drain of wealth. Before the coming of the British, our industry and agriculture complex that have a share of 25% in the world. But when the British started the rule in India, the growth rate of agriculture that was decreased to zero. A country that shared 25% of growth in agricultural and industrial sector in the world level diminished to the status of 0% during the time of Britain. So in this way, our wealth was drained to Britain. So third important aspects of colonialism that is concerned with the drain of wealth. And fourth one that is very familiar to us, that is the complete political domination of metropolitan country over the colony. So we already studied about four basic features of colonialism. One is the complete integration of the colony with the world capitalist system through the process of free markets or free trade. Second one is concerned with the process of production. Third one is concerned with the drain of wealth, and fourth one is that complete political domination. Our next area of discussion is that how we have to define colonialism and imperialism. How we can differentiate these two important terms. So naturally we are using colonialism and imperialism interchangeably, but there are differences. There is an argument that imperialism is a comprehensive and complex term that covers whole range of relations, political, economical, social and cultural relation between a colony and a metropolitan center, whole range of relations, and colonialism that is only a part of imperialism. That is one argument. You know the name Edward Said, the post-colonial thinker who wrote a famous book on Orientalism. Edward Said make an argument that imperialism is theory, that is a principle or theory, and colonialism that is the impact or consequence of the imperialism. One is an ideology, one is a practice. That is the difference identified by Edward Said. George Norton, who tells that colonialism that is an expansion of domination or sovereignty, political or economical, direct or indirect, expansion of the domination, whether it is political or economical, direct or indirect, of a metropolitan center to that of a colony. So in this way, we have to demarcate imperialism and colonialism. What are the economic motive or economic causes of colonialism? Next, we have to discuss what are the economic causes or economic motive of the colonialism. First one is that of the first stage of colonialism, that is, or the colonial conquest, that is for trade and looting of wealth. Trade and looting wealth. Beyond that, there was no intention for colonialism. The British does not want to create a colony in India. So looting, just looting and trade. So this kind of conquest or expansion, that is connected with the geographical discoveries. You see that geographical discoveries that change the course of the world. So that is connected with the geographical discoveries. And second economic aspect is that for identifying or getting free markets, the second stage of colonialism or second expansion of colonialism, that is for getting the free markets. For what purpose the free market? One, we already make a reference that for getting the raw materials for producing manufactured goods from Britain. After Industrial Revolution, the entire economic process of the world that was subjected to change. New scientific inventions, technologies, steam engine, invention of railway, all that changed the course of the world after the Industrial Revolution. So the Industrial Revolution precipitated or expanded the economy on two important ways. One is that technology enhanced the production. Technology enhanced the production and new transport system run by the new energy source, that is the steam, that transported huge goods or carried out huge goods from colonies to European market, and internal movements that was also facilitated by this development. And after Industrial Revolution, there was much competition among the European countries, especially Britain, France, Portugal, Spain, Holland, for getting more and more places for investments, more and more places for investment and or something. So in this way, the second stage of colonialism, that is not just for looting of the wealth of the colony, but for getting markets. And another development or expansion is that they wanted the place for investments. The European companies emerged huge wealth after Industrial Revolution, and they wanted the place for investing their money. So that was the another motive, economic motive of colonialism, investments. And so these are some of the causes that we have to identify for the expansion of colonialism. And what are the changes that was occurred in the social and economic arena of our country when colonialism was seriously felt in this region? So that you have positive and negative results. You see that education, British rule of law, development of transport and communication system, and in some way gender equality, idea of gender equality. All that is considered as the positive benefit of the colonialism, but that have some sort of other aspects also. One is that the introduction of the idea of private property in India. One of the important developments, introduction of the idea of private property. As far as our country is concerned, there was communal property or communal ownership. Community, the entire community or entire family that possessed land, wealth or something, process of production was community oriented. But the European capitalist system that demands free individuals, let the individual free. They wanted the free individuals to run the factories or something. So they have to separate individuals from the clutches of the landlords and rulers of our country. So that is another important aspect. They wanted free individuals. That is why the concept of private property that was introduced there. Another development is that commercialization of agriculture. The main production of India was that of the crops and food production. That is just for consumption. What we produce, that we consumed, and the production that was not for the market. So the Europeans developed the theory of the Asiatic mode of production. Asiatic mode of production theory that almost all Indian villages were self-sufficient. They produced and they consumed what they produced. So the when British came, they commercialized the agriculture because they introduced rubber, they introduced indigo, they introduced tea, they introduced coffee. All these items that was not for consumption, mere consumption, but that is for precipitating the European economy. So commercialization of agriculture, that is another important aspect of the European colonialism. First one, we say that the introduction of the concept of the private property, and second one is that of the commercialization of the agriculture. So in this way, our social and economical system subjected to tremendous changes by the coming of the Europeans. So these are the uh, primary observations or primary study that we have about colonialism. And next class we have to make a study on the execution of the colonial ideology in India. Yes, thank you.